Hey folks, I'm here trying to do the best I could by sharing with you guys a dream that the Lord has showed me when I was during my time of prayer and fasting. And yes, I do dream, but these dreams like stood out to me, even though I have other dreams that are pertaining to the church and pertaining to the world. This one stood out, one of the most really elaborate dreams I had. Since then, I've been getting other dreams about the church and so forth, so on. I can't share all, and I won't share all because it's not for me to share all, but I think this is one I could share with you to give you a better view on what the Lord is concerned with in this day and age. So, here it goes. Now I'm reading because I wrote it on my laptop. I typed it down on my laptop. I saw unclothed half bodies of men running around in an open field that had large rocks. Some of the rocks had some brownish, gooey substance on and in them. The half bodies all had erected penises and were running wildly, trying to thrust their penises into each and every rock. Thereafter, I went on this broad road that was painted red, which was filled with cracks and holes that were covered with newspapers and magazines. On the side of this road, I was shown this dilapidated small old wooden house. Then a voice said, this house represented Haiti. And I continued to walk further, then stumbled upon another house. This house was really elaborate and big. Then the voice came to me and said again that this house represents the U.S. Now, the voice also explained to me that the same things happened in Haiti. The same things happening in Haiti are also the same things happening in the U.S. It's just that the U.S. looks a bit more appealing. Afterwards, I ended up in the house that represented the U.S. where a lady showed me how to use a high-tech phone with Facebook on it, and just went back and forth with that. Thereafter, I was taken into a basement or a dungeon of the same house, and I saw people with tattoos, piercings, and dark clothing resembling goths, and they were all acting crazy, smoking and drinking. Women were dancing in a vulgar manner with the little songs and all over the place. But what really stuck out to me was this lady who had two babies strapped to her chest, one at the top and the other at the bottom. The baby at the top was actually licking the one at the bottom. It's kind of grotesque. I don't understand what that meant. But after that, the dream switched to me standing in New York City, and I saw many skyscrapers with people flying in and out of them. Suddenly, I began to levitate to the top of one of the skyscrapers and saw this guy dressed in black, assuming he was an angel. And he led me into this red capsule where we both stood in and together. After entering into the capsule, I saw a portal that was in the atmosphere. I was in the sky, remember? So it was a portal that was opened up, which we also entered into. Upon entering into the portal, the first thing I saw was a stall with men in the front from different countries. I can remember seeing a black guy, a Chinese guy, and an Italian guy, which were in conflict with each other. They were fighting and arguing. As I continued to look around, I saw a bunch of technology-based items floating around in the air, like laptops, iPads, iPhones, cars, other phones and gadgets I'd never seen before. I stood there puzzled and shocked, riding through the air. As we continued to pass the devices, he took me to this very large tree that was illuminating and had a lot of light. Please bear in mind that everything else was dark and dim at this time. On the tree there were all sorts of gems, really, really huge gems the size of grapefruits, rubies, diamonds, emeralds, you name it, they were found on this tree. However, in the front of this tree, when I started to look a little closer, there was a large entity just as tall as the tree that stood in front of it. His hair was long and resembled wool, and he had a golden color and golden glow to him. He had two ivory horns that protruded out of his head. The upper part of the creature's body was buff and pale bronze, and of a pale bronze complexion. He was like half man and half beast, because his top was that of a man, like I said, and his bottom half was that of a snake that was made of pure gold. So his scales and everything was beautiful, really big and monstrous looking. And yeah, he stood there with his hands outstretched pointing, and that's when I began to look even closer. Surrounding him, surrounding this being, were people walking towards the tree, and others were coming from the tree, dragging on all fours on the ground with chains and carrying monstrous slabs, like we're talking about pyramid slabs on their backs. These people coming from the tree that had a lot of gems on it. So yeah, they were in agony and crying out for help. So they were looking at me and saying help them, and they were looking at the angel and crying out help them. They were in agony. And then next, Then then the guy next to me, or the angel next to me, told me that this was Baal, and not sure which one. He said Baal or Balal. I heard it, but it sounded like Baal. The dream ended with people crying out in agony. Again, I said, like, they were in misery and pain because they're coming to the tree that had just a lot of stuff, but when they came from it, it was like they were in bondage and captivity, and things just was all over the place. That's the end of that dream.